my YouTube world? This is Johnny Mo. You know I like to give stuff away. You know I do. You know how I am. I want to give something away to you. I'm going to do a 4 to 5 part video in response to thanking all my subscribers for allowing me to come into your home and speak to you about life's topics, about business, about being a better person in life. So what I'm going to do, without further ado, I'm giving away, because we just entered the 3,000 subscriber list, we are going to give away the complete snow removal package. Bidding, numbers, equipment, things to consider, salting, how much salt to put down. We're going to give this away for free. And honestly, you won't get this information anywhere else. No one is going to put together a package just like this. I'm telling you that for my 3,000 subscribers, you are going to get the best. I could sell this at $100 a pop, no lie. There are guys that sell the information that I'm going to give you for free. Just because you guys have been so great to me. You're awesome. Love talking with you. Wish I could have been at the GIE. I had some legal things that I had to be at. The very first night at the GIE, I was sitting in front of a 17-panel thing. I can't talk about it. There was some legal issues that I had to deal with. They are done, and I'm glad they're done, but that's why I wasn't at the GIE. Something arose a few weeks before, and for me to deal with it, I had to be at that meeting at that time in front of about 17 people. So that's done. Nothing came of it. It was nothing big on my part, but it had to be taken care of. So that's done. But I want to thank you, and I'm sorry I missed that GIE. I really am. I did text about 5 or 6 people. They kind of knew what was going on, so hopefully, everything went good. Looks like it did on some of the videos. Next year I'll make sure I'm not involved in anything legally binding or anything like that. But anyway, I want to start this snow removal and thank you for 3,000 subscribers. So we're going to start it off here. When you're considering snow removal, listen, guys. This can be 4 or 5 part. This can be excellent. I'm just excellent video. Things to consider about snow removal. It's like my number 1 or 2 question right now. Like my emails blow up. Can you do some snow removal? Yeah, we're doing it. Because we went over to the 3,000 mark, I am going to give you this information for absolutely free. It's going to be the best series that I've done. My bidding package is a really good series. Go back and look through the bidding. You have to have employees. A great video section for dealing with employees. And boom! Now it's going to be snow removal. Number one video. Should you get into snow removal? Things to consider. Number 1, do you get enough snow? Johnny, that's silly. You don't know how many times people will rush out and buy a plow and they get a trace amount every year. Listen, if your storms are like 1/4-inch storms, you're not going to be dealing with plowing. You're going to be dealing with salting. So making sure you're matching the equipment for the area that you live. Don't go spend $6,000 on a plow and it's used once every 2 years. There's some websites. Just go into Google or Safari, whatever you use. Type in how much snowfall amounts for, say, the Great Lakes. We'll say Erie, Pennsylvania. Say Erie, Pennsylvania, and pop up and see how much snowfall amounts do you get. Now, I think Erie's around over the 100-inch mark, and obviously that's definitely worth it. We're at the 96-inch mark. I live close to the Great Lakes. I'm about an hour or so away. We live in a snow belt, so we get pounded a little bit. If there's snow coming across the lakes, called lake effect snow, we're generally going to get hammered with. So we get about 96 inches on average. There are some times where you might not get any. There's an El Nino that's set up over Texas that is supposed to keep the cold air up into the north. Now, the last couple years, we've had open north to the northeast where the polar vortex is allowed a dumping on us. You know, that cold air comes across that lakes and boom, we get dumped on. So last 2 years have been very good with snow removal. Things to consider. How much snow do we get? You know, matching the outfit with the snow. You know, if I'm sitting in Atlanta, Georgia, I'm probably not going to get into snow removal. You know, you start getting up North Carolina, it's a little iffy. You get some snow events, you get some icing, you might get into salting a little bit. Is that worth it? Nah, I'm not sure. You know, what's Kansas like? What's Illinois like? You're sitting up there by those lakes, man. You might get pounded over there. You know, Minnesota, I'm sure gets pounded. You know, it's something for you to consider. How much snow? The investment part of it. Are you willing to invest in snow removal? Because here, I see this happen a lot. People invest in snow removal and they don't get any snow and they think it's, oh man, we didn't get any snow this year. There's a good possibility we might not get any snow in the Northeast this year. When that last time the El Nino hit, we didn't get much snow. So the things to consider. Are you willing to sit on an investment? I consider snow removal overtime. Overtime means all extra money. I rely on grass, pruning, and fertilization to pay my salary all the way through 12 months. This is all overtime money. That's what I consider. You guys know I'm a 4-quarter guy. You know the first quarter starts in April. Last quarter ends November 25th or Thanksgiving, and that's it. And then we get snow removal stuff. That's all overtime. It's all extra. I'm not a person who believes that you should rely on snow removal for the bulk amount of your money. It'll only take 1 or 2 bad years and you're out, you're done. So considering that, another thing to consider, and this is the considering of it. Should I get into it? This is the considering part of it. If you're a person who is a truck guy and you know the type, got to have the wheels shining. No dents, no scratches. Everything's complete. Boom. You're in a construction field, but you're a truck guy. You know, your stuff's got to look pretty all the time. Do not get into this field. You will have nicks, dents, scratches, everything you could possibly think of. Just to the simple fact you're driving on salted roads and the salt pedals come up, smack the side of your trucks. Cars are coming by, they're slamming the side of it, and it just salts on the road, and it's just putting little nicks and dents and little different things in the truck, and it's rough on a truck. It's going to cut your truck life in half, you know. So if you're a big person, you're like $32,000 or 40 grand is a lot to be spending on a truck to go ruin it. Don't do it, because you will ruin these trucks. Cut your time in half. If you live in an area down south where you don't get salt and stuff, that truck's probably good for 10 years. It's probably good for 6 up here if you're in salt. If you're dealing with a lot of salt applications in a high salted area. Meaning if you're up by Cleveland, the Great Lakes, Michigan and all that, where they have to put a lot of salt down the roads, New York and all that to keep it clean, your truck isn't going to last long. Another thing is, considering, I averaged it out. Over the last 3 years, just from winter damage alone to the front end of my truck is about $1,200 a year. So that means every time I hit a frozen pile of snow and I'm stacking up, it's just boom, it's another shock to the front end of the truck. You know, you might clip a curb here and there. You might, get a big pothole and it jams your truck up. You're going to put money into that front end. Every year I do about $1,200 in just snow problems, repairs, not considering the brake aspect, all the other stuff that goes along with maintaining a truck. I'm just talking about front end damage, snow tires, the whole 9. So, considering, another thing for you to consider is, first of all, do you get enough snow? You can check that on the website. If you do, you're like, yeah, this is something for you to think about. Is there money in snow removal? It's the best part of my business. I make more money per hour in the snow removal part than I do in any other business. The fertilizing, the mowing, the pruning, the light landscaping, it's snow removal is probably the best. The only thing I think that's even close to snow removal is when you get into hardscaping, large retaining walls. Excavating is another thing that matches the dollar per hour rate of snow removal. Those are the only few areas I think to even consider. Now, considering how hard you have to work in the excavating and the hardscaping aspect of it, snow removal still wins because you're sitting in a truck usually using your thumb. Now, another thing to consider, do you have enough snow? If you're a truck guy, don't even bother. You'll drive yourself nuts. You'll drive yourself nuts. The third thing to consider is the liability factor of it. Liability is huge. Now, there's a lot of insurance places that are not insuring snow removal. And when you consider getting into the snow removal part of it and you're going to go commercial, you have to understand there's a liability factor that you're going to take risk, and you're going to base that risk on your ability to keep this place clean. I've been sued twice because of slip and falls. My insurance paid out the claim. They did everything that they did, and you have to understand that there's a possibility that you will get sued. So if you're an unreliable person or you're an over-aggressive person and you want to sell $15,000, 15 lots in one day, and you're going to try to get all those lots done in one day, you're going to cause yourself to be in a high liability factor. Meaning this, considering opening times as a basis. So let's say you have 4 places that are all open at 6 o'clock. How are you getting to all 4 places? And then all of a sudden you got people opening up at 7, 8, 9. I like to stagger my opening dates. Meaning, if this place opens at 6, the last place I want to open around 10. That gives me staggered opening times to get to each place and be responsible. You have to know your limitations in snow. This isn't like grass. You know, you're not going to generally get sued for grass. Now, another thing for you to consider, if you're just going to get in it, you get enough snowfall, you just want to do 10 driveways, get yourself a little, snow blower, burn, you go through, your driveways are fine. They're not going to put pressure on you to get it open. But when places open at 8, they want a safe walking, an atmosphere for people to walk across their lot, walk across their sidewalk to get them into the place of business. Make sure that you're a very reliable person, and make sure that you're able to afford the extra. This isn't you're just starting out and you're like, oh, you know what? I'm not going to get any insurance. That aspect does not relate to this field. You will get sued if someone slips and falls. You're not properly insured. Guess what? You're paying out. I think the first claim was $13,000. The second claim was $26,000. And if you can't afford the extra $150 for the insurance, can you even afford the $13,000 to pay out a claim? Just things to consider. I want you to see the whole scope of snow removal before I start talking about the fancy equipment, the salt amounts, the bidding aspect. And that's right, I'm going to show you how to bid a lot. I'm going to show you how to know how much salt to remove. So let's review the video. Thank you so much for the 3,000 subscribers. I appreciate you YouTubers out there letting me come in to your home and share my thoughts on life and share my thoughts on business. Awesome. Thank you. Consider, do you get enough snow to consider snow removal? Okay, that's the first thing. Find out how much snow you get in your area. Is it a viable thing? Number 2, if you're a truck guy, don't do this. This will frustrate you to the point you'll be like, there's rust everywhere. I can't take it. You don't want to do this. Number 3, the liability factor. Odds are this is very highly sued business where you get sued quite a bit. I took on this very late in my career. I think I've only been in it about 6-7 years. And it took me a while to build into this. I used to like to have my winters off. Remember, liability is a huge issue. Always use snow removal as overtime money. Don't rely on that to get you through winter. Okay? Don't do that. Make sure you get your money on the front end and not on the back end, because sometimes you lose. So thanks so much, guys. Leave me some questions down in the comment area, and I will try to answer them throughout these next 4 videos. Don't miss this series, baby. This is for you, saying thank you for all that you guys have done for me. Later.